Welcome to MellyS The Story Collector web TV, where each week we bring you inspiring stories from courageous individuals about the moments and experiences that have shaped their lives. In this episode, we're talking with the gorgeous Leanne about her call to adventure and how she had to overcome her own limitations in order to heed that call.
I suppose if I talk about my story, it started more than 10 years ago. And, I had to find the courage to actually step up for a change. Because I found, most of the time up until I was 40, I was hiding myself away and I didn't seem to have a voice. And I was just, and I had such a sad life. So I suppose, I was going through a really bad time and I thought, nah, when I started to change everything, I really thought, wow, if I can do it, there's got to be other women that have been going through the same sort of things. So, I can probably get it out there and get that message across to people that they can change their lives. It doesn't have to be a sad life. You don't have to go down that deep, dark hole. There's help there. There's people there that want to help you. And because I've been there, that's why I thought I really wanted to share the story of how I did it and how I was able to, find that courage to actually get going and start looking at what was really holding me back.
So where did it start then? When did you first notice that things were holding you back?
I suppose most of my life I always felt that. I always felt a little bit different. Going through school, I was the shy one. I'm very introverted. So I don't often, go to the big parties and do all that fun stuff. People thought I was very serious and that. I thought I was partying on the inside. They just couldn't see it. But I couldn't show that. And I had sort of upbringing where you don't show all your emotions. You don't speak up and be different and, draw attention to yourself. So that just kept carrying on. And then I married a man who I thought was great. He supported me and he was wonderful. But when I started to grow, I felt like I was being held back because I just started to find out who I was. And so I went through a lot. I had a daughter and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just went through that stage where I thought, okay, who am I? I don't really love my job. It was a job. It was great. It was secure. My parents loved that I had that job in government. Who wouldn't want that job? Well, me, because I couldn't find out who I was. And then when I started working with myself, and I went through that whole, I had put on weight and I was losing weight and that sort of stuff. So that was like the start of the journey, but there was so much more from there. So that's when I thought I nearly hit 40. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do for my 40th? And I stood on top of this mountain. And on top of this mountain, there's a photo of me that I've got my arms up in the air like this. And there's this beautiful backdrop. And it was just like an aha moment where I thought, wow, I have changed my life around. I'm standing up for things I've never thought I would. And I've actually got a voice now. What can I do? And I thought, I can help others do it. So that's sort of how the little bit of a journey came to of, where I started, being the person I really was.
Wow, that's been a huge journey for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been massive because you really got to start doing a lot of inner work because there's things holding you back. And what I've learned is that there's so much that happens when you're a child that you actually keep taking into adulthood. And it really does hold you back if you don't look at it. And I was the typical ostrich, head in the sand. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to go there. I just thought, no, I can't do it. It's too scary a place to go. But when you start looking at it and you start unraveling all the things that have happened to you and the meanings you've taken away from different events and just learn, you start to get a lot stronger and you start to realise that you're a different person. You don't have to be what society dictates. You don't have to be what your parents dictate. You can actually find out who you really are. But, that takes courage to go inside because I know for a long time I avoided that.
I call it your cave within.
Yes.
So it's like this deep, dark space. And whenever something happens in your life, you hide things in there because you don't want to face it. And then you come to this point where, oh, hang on a second, I need to face these things. And then you retreat into your cave. But from the sounds of it, you found your light again, standing on top of that mountain. Like that imagery is just amazing.
I know. And I actually use that photo quite a bit now. It's just amazing, like a little snapshot that my partner took of me up there on this, huge rock with these mountains behind me. It was just gorgeous, but it just meant so much because it was just that moment. And as you say, that light seemed to come down. And even now I get goosebumps when I look at it thinking of how I felt. And it's so important to get the emotions and feelings into things because that's what's going to move you along.
Yeah.
instead of, holding yourself back, I used to stuff those emotions down and go, no, can't have them, can't, you've got to have that mask that everyone thinks that you're this person who's strong and can get by. And a lot of people would say, oh, you're so strong and you never cry. And I thought, in the end, I thought that's not a good thing because I'm not showing anything and I wasn't making deep connections with anybody. And when I found out that, emotions are so strong, I have just deepened the connections with people. I can immediately, gain rapport with people. Because I just love them. I love being curious about who people are and just making that deep connection.
No wonder we're connected. Everything you just said is just like a reflection of myself. I love this. So how do you help people then? How do you take what you've experienced and now helping others find that light within themselves again?
Well, what I did for a long time, I started, okay, I'll go on a personal journey, development journey myself. And I thought, okay, this is great. All right, I'll start helping others one-to-one. And I'm thinking, okay, but this is slow. What can I do? And I thought, I think there's a book in here somewhere. So speaking of books, I'll just show you. I wrote this book called Balance, which is so exciting because a lot of my story is actually intertwined in it. And it's sharing with people what I went through at different stages and how the different tools and strategies and things I did to actually move on. So I thought, well, okay, the book's going to get to a lot more people. And it's actually given me a lot more opportunities by going out to speaking gigs and networking events and saying, oh, hey, I've got this book. It's got such a strong message. And so I really wanted to sort of intertwine my journey because I want people to relate to it. I want people to know they're not alone and that they can actually, experience beautiful things. And because I'm all about adventure, I sort of entwine the adventure of life in it as well. So you go within and you find out what's going on, what's holding you back. And then as you start to go from that wilting sort of heavy person, you start to open up and you start to sort of, if you think of a flower blossoming, that's what I like to liken it to. You're actually blossoming and thinking, wow, there's so much more to life than I thought there was. And that's when my book starts.
That's a beautiful image to have in your head too, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
So why balance? Why that title?
I think because I kept hearing all this work-life balance, you got to have your work and your personal life and your relationships, your family all going in the right proportions. And I'm thinking that's garbage. That's all external. You're like walking on a tightrope, teetering along there, balancing these balls, juggling them around. I'm thinking that doesn't work. If one ball drops, what's going to happen to you? So I wanted to talk about balance as being inside, is the inner stuff. It's where you're grounded, you're centered, and you're really strong. And life throws us so many curveballs, so much chaos out there.
Tell me about
that. Exactly. So to be able to just have that inner balance where you're strong, you're centered, you believe in yourself, especially believe in yourself that you can get through it because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I wanted to write about, balance, from this perspective rather than from that whole work-life balance. I just want to challenge that concept.
So what was it like writing the book then and really putting yourself out there? Because that would be a very vulnerable experience.
It actually really was. I thought, oh yeah, I can do this. And I've been taught by mentors, be vulnerable, open up, stand for something. And I thought, yeah, I'm standing for something, but on a very quiet scale. I was like, yeah, I'm standing for something, but it's not so big.
But I'm in the corner doing it.
Exactly. And I thought, oh, I'm playing it small. So writing the book actually allowed me to play bigger, to actually go, right, here we are. Here's the book. And it's actually very cathartic because writing out your story is very different to thinking about, your story. When you start to put it down, you get more clarity too. There's things I learned on this journey of writing the book. It was just amazing. I thought, oh, wow, I forgot about that. And yeah, oh, that's right. That is actually holding me back again. That same pattern. Let's get onto that. And because I am a coach, I can actually stop my patterns, fairly quickly, which is why going on this bit of a personal development journey and addressing the things, being aware of what's going on for you, can actually stop things in their track. So instead of going to the deep, dark depths of depression or whatever it is, you can actually stop yourself and go, right, I've had that emotion. I've gone through it. Let's move on. And what can I do from now?
What's a pattern that you saw that came up as you were writing the book?
I think it was every now and then I would go, oh, wow, do I want to tell people my story? Because I wanted to hide again. I wanted that mask to come back up again. I go, because I remember having a really, an issue, not so much being an alcoholic, but an issue with alcohol that I would numb the pain. Every afternoon I'd come home from work and I'd have some wine just to numb that pain so I wasn't feeling all those, sad feelings that I was having. So things like that were going, oh, do I want people to know about that? Will they think of me less? And those type of patterns will come up again thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, for people to listen to me. I thought, no, there are many, many women out there, many, many people who go through this that do have these issues that might be addicted to alcohol, might be addicted to shopping, to food, whatever it is. They take on something external to try and numb those feelings instead of actually addressing what's going on. So that was a little bit of a pattern I do see come up, but I actually think writing the book has just sort of blown that apart now.
Yeah, it was there. You couldn't deny it anymore.
That's it.
Yep.
That's right.
And I do think alcohol is one that comes up quite a lot for a lot of people. A lot of people just say that it's just the wine after work, not realising that the bottle of wine after work every night is not a good thing.
No, that's right. I mean, it's that feeling that it gives us. It's not so much even the wine or whatever it is that they drink. It's a feeling of anticipation. Oh, I need to relax, so I need a wine to do that. Do you really? If you need to relax, are there other ways? Can you go and have a bubble bath? Can you go for a walk around the block? Can you just walk your dog, be with your animals, be with your children, whatever it is? You don't need to have that wine. But it took me a long time to realise that because it's a really, really easy thing to numb stuff so you don't feel. But to be honest, when you numb everything, you might stop the lows, but you don't get the highs either. You don't get that beautiful joy each day.
Yep. Yeah, I saw a quote about that not long ago where if you numb the pain, you numb the joy.
Yes.
It's like life is meant to be extreme, the dualities and polarities of life. And I love that. It's like, yeah, it hurts, but hey, there's some really good highs out there as well.
Well, that's right. And I used to think, okay, if I can just make it all like this, I'll be okay. But I never felt anything. I never had that joy. I never did adventurous stuff. I never had fun in my life. It was just keep it in the one line, keep it serious, I'll be able to get through. It's no sort of life. Yeah. So now I know I have great highs, and I expect the lows. Sometimes you do have a bad time, something will happen, but I know how to get it back up again. And that's the thing. You have the tools and strategies to get back up again. You can have the grief and still be able to ride through it, but just not keep wallowing in it.
So how has your life changed then since going through this journey and blossoming yourself?
It's actually amazing. Like I turned 50 this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's just the things, I look back on the last 10 years and think, wow, I have done so much. I have been able to, I like to run. I like to do fun runs. I like to raise money in the fun runs, and I like to go hiking, and I love adventure. I realise that's a major value for me. And when I talk adventure, sometimes people get a little bit scared going, oh, I'm not a risk taker. I don't like adrenaline rushes, but I don't mean that. It's meaning like every day I look forward to the day. I'm thinking, wow, what can I do today? What's going to happen today? It's just that adventure thinking, wow, you might plan the holiday, which is great because you've got that anticipation, but it's anticipation of each day. So now I'm just thinking, okay, I'm on a video call here now with you, talking to you. That's exciting because that's different. I don't know what's going to happen. I didn't know what we were going to talk about, but this is just a beautiful conversation. And then tomorrow it might be something different. I might run into somebody down the street. You just don't know what's going to happen, but I enjoy every moment that I can.
So have you left that cushy government job and are you out on your own now?
I have definitely left that cushy job. I did about 18 months ago. I decided, no, I can't do this anymore. Let's rock on having it my own business, because it was a silent dream of mine. I didn't realise that would ever be a dream that I could, make happen, because it was something, everyone said I had to be stable in that government job and, retire there and get great superannuation. But there's always something niggling at me thinking, I don't want to retire doing this. Who says I have to retire? And I've now met so many beautiful women and men who don't want to retire. They don't want to just go, bang, here's a date, I'm no longer working. They want to do wonderful things, blossoming right through their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And that's what I want to do. So I definitely have left that job where I've just felt it was a little bit toxic and it wasn't quite my people. But now that I've been out, I've been able to meet so many beautiful people all around the world. And I have got contacts all around the world now just to, learning. When I have my own podcast, I talk to them about different things and everyone goes through the same stuff. It's just amazing how the same stuff keeps coming up. Doesn't matter where you are.
Yep. it's a universal truth of who we are. We all experience the same thing regardless of where we live or who our family are.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when it comes to courage, do you feel that your definition of courage has changed from when you first started on this journey to now?
It definitely has. I felt at first courage was something I needed to wait for. And then when it showed up, I could do something. Then I learned, courage doesn't just turn up. It's like wishing and dreaming your life away. You need to actually do something so courage can show up. So take a first step. Put yourself in the vicinity of something that you want so courage can be there. And so now I've taken that journey, and now it's really evolved into courage is that speaking from the heart. It's really, and I think Brene Brown actually talks about it too, about being vulnerable. It's being open. It's not telling all your dramas and that sort of stuff. It's being there as who you are and being that person that can actually go out, stand for something, and be okay with that and think that it's from my heart. This is who I truly am. It's not from my head where I think people, I'm not saying what people think I have to say. It's from my heart. It's who I truly am.
And it's showing up in the front of the room, not standing in the corner.
Exactly. That's right.